Do you need a ride?
Yes, please. Thanks.
Get in.
What's your name, kid?
Alex.
Alex?
Just Alex.
Where to, Alex?
I'm heading to Delaney. Just drop me off at the edge there.
What are you planning to do there?
I'm gonna live off the land for a few months.
I noticed that he didn't pack nearly enough for that kind of trip. Alaska has long been a magnet for dreamers, but the bush ain't like the magazines make it out to be. It isn't a picnic.
I'm hitting the Stampede Trail, stopping just north of Mount McKinley.
You know, boy, the hunting isn't easy where you're going. You can go days without killing any game.
That's okay, I'll manage.
At least let me buy you some decent gear.
No thanks, I'm fine with what I got.
There was just no talking the guy out of it. I thought he'd probably get hungry and walk out to the highway. I mean, that's what any normal person would do.
Oh my god, guys, look, it's the legendary Bus 142 that was left behind by the mining parties.
Whoa, but what is that smell? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
So let's go
Whoa.
inside and check it out.
Wait, what is that?
So these are what Alex used to drink. He used to drink out of this glass lot when he was here. I picked him up, actually, the hitchhiker. He said his name was Alex McCandless, and then he said he hadn't eaten in a couple of days, so I took him home, I fed him, and I let him stay with me, and I offered him a job in Carthage because he looked like he needed one. And then he came and he worked for me for a little bit, and then he just sort of left for a while. I mean, I knew his name wasn't Alex, it was Chris. I saw it on the tax form he gave me, but I never asked him about his family because I just thought, you know, they had problems, and that was really personal, so I just didn't ask.
In truth, McCandless had been raised in an upper-middle-class family in Virginia.
He graduated a history and anthropology major with a 3.72 grade point average. With $24,000 after graduating, his family thought it would go towards law school. Instead, he donated the money and disappeared, taking his car and all his belongings due west, seeking a new life. A life as Alexander Supertramp, master of his own destiny. He kept a journal of his travels, though oddly writing in third person.
His car is washed away by flash flood. He has to ditch it. The motor is wet. He hikes around Lake Mead in the west. He reaches the Colorado River and canoes downstream into Mexico. He ditches the canoe after a storm. He travels to Vegas and lives on the street.
The journal pauses here for a while, but there are other clues from letters he sent. He went to Oregon, California, then reached Bullhead City, Arizona. After a 2-month stay, during which he lived a nearly normal life, he ditched, heading for Slab City, California.
Call from Carine.
Hello, I'm Ronald Franz, and I understand that you're the one investigating the incident regarding Alex McCandless.
Hello, Mr. Franz. I'm John Krakauer, the one who wrote that article. What is it you need?
Could you provide me a copy of the magazine? I'd really like to know how he was injured, as he was always carrying enough rice and he always had enough warm clothes and he had enough money, so that should have been enough for him to survive, so I don't really understand.
You seem to know an awful lot about Alex.
I picked him up as a hitchhiker and we became good friends. Yeah, he was like a son to me.
We should talk face to face. I have quite a few questions for you, and I'll give you a copy of the magazine.
Does 5 o'clock tomorrow work for you?
Sure. And where?
28 Waynebrook Avenue, Salton City.
Great. See you tomorrow. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice. Okay. I met Alex near here in Salton City, where I picked him up and dropped him off at his campsite near some hot springs. I couldn't get the boy out of my mind. It must have been parental instincts. My son and my wife died in a car crash, both hit by a drunk driver. And anyways, I went to his campsite and we talked and we quickly became friends. Over the next few weeks, he taught me to live on the road and I taught him how to do leatherworking. It was really sad when he decided to leave. I drove him to San Diego, and that was where we split. Though he still stayed in contact, calling and sending postcards, I only met him once more and gave him some tools to survive, but that was the last I ever saw of him.
Well, I have some photos of his journey here if you'd like to see them.
Okay. If Alex came back, I would have adopted him as my grandson.
Many people say that McCandless was overly confident and crazy. I disagree. He was something else. Like a pilgrim, not a nutcase, not an outcast. In fact, he was much like another, Everett Roos. Roos was also from a comfortable background, but left to backpack the canyonlands of Arizona and New Mexico. He too adopted a new name, much like Alex. In fact, the difference is that no one knows what happened to Roos, whereas McCandless is dead.
I just read the papers, and I think I know who the dead hiker is. I gave him a ride.
What makes you think so?
His name was Alex from South Dakota.
Gallien knew details about Alex's equipment that couldn't have been known any other way.
Hi, yeah, is this the state troopers? Yeah, I'm here to address something I heard on the radio about a hiker named Alex. He can't be dead, can he? Oh, sorry, my name is Wayne Westerberg. I know someone named Alex. Yeah, he was a hiker. He went to Alaska. Yeah, he went by Alex, but his real name is Chris McCandless. Yeah, okay.
Thank you for your help. We'll use it to aid in finding his family.
Hi, how can I help you?
Oh, are you Samuel McCandless?
Yeah, just call me Walt.
I don't know how to tell you this, but your son, Chris, he was found dead in Alaska. Died from starvation.
That's rude. What? No. Sorry, give me a second. I have to go tell my wife.
After a while, I asked them about Chris's childhood. So, Walt, you originally worked for NASA as a project manager for the CSAT project, right?
That is correct, yes. And then after my wife and I, we opened our own consulting firm out of our own home when Chris and Carine were growing up. Chris and I, we didn't spend a lot of time with each other. We had a very bad relationship. He always thought I was too pushy, too negative. My wife and I, we worked a lot, so we didn't have a lot of time for the kids. However, I thought before he left that we were getting better because, we were finally agreeing on things. We were spending more time together. I remember one of my fondest memories with Chris is when every year we would go to Old Rag Mountain in Virginia and we would go on this 3-day hike. I would always get tired, but Chris being Chris, he would always try to reach the summit.
How was your relationship with your brother when you were growing up?
We were pretty close since our parents were out working all the time, so trying to do their best to make money. And growing up, I would always have to rely on Chris to do stuff, like walking me home from school.
So, how was your brother's relationship with your parents?
Well, my parents and my brother had a rough relationship. He didn't do too well with authority, and if you told him to do something, he would do the exact opposite. It's just the way he was. And he was real mad when he found out that our dad was still seeing his ex-wife behind our backs. And also, he didn't know how to express it either. He was the type of person who would bottle up all his emotions and rage until it exploded. And I guess it did, because he just got up and left.
Well, thank you for your time. It was nice meeting you. I'm sorry for your loss. I had a few more questions I had to ask, so I interviewed a friend of Chris, Jan Burres.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Looking for some classics? I got Tolstoy, Jane Austen, you name it.
Actually, I was wondering if I could talk to you about Chris McCandless. You might know him as Alex.
Oh yeah, I know him. Sweet kid. It's a shame what happened though. He used to help me around the stand. Real interested in the classics. Jack London was his favorite. He left a few months ago in search of Alaska. And no one could talk him out of it. And he used to send me postcards, but I haven't heard of him for a while now. A really playful guy, but you could never get him to talk about his family. I was sure he could handle himself, though, and that he would survive the wild.
It turns out Alex could not solve the great mystery of surviving in the Alaskan wilderness.
This place is really beautiful. I can see why Chris really liked it here.
I still don't understand him, but I'm glad that he at least was able to come to a place like this.
He must have really had really strong persistence.
Chris McCandless, Alexander Supertramp. A complicated person whose overconfidence ended a future that we now will never know. He just wasn't ready to face the crushing and unforgiving nature of the harsh Alaskan wilderness.